Life will test you in ways you never expect. It will push you, distract you, lure you into conflict, and try to pull your attention away from the path you know is yours. And in these moments, the greatest strength you can carry is calmness. Not the calmness of inaction, but the calmness of control. The calm that comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you are going. 99% calm does not mean you are passive. It means you are anchored. It means you understand that true power is not loud, not frantic, not reactive. True power is steady. It is the quiet certainty that no storm can shake. When you are calm, you see situations clearly. You respond instead of reacting. You choose your words instead of spilling them carelessly. Calmness gives you vision. It lets you observe the world as it is, not as your fears try to convince you it might be. In that calmness, you gain the advantage, because while others lose themselves in emotion, you remain centered, deliberate, awake. This inner stillness becomes a shield. It protects your energy, your focus, and your purpose from being scattered by chaos or negativity. But calmness alone is not enough. There is a small part of you, a fierce, unshakable part, where compromise does not exist. That 1% is the line you do not let anyone cross. It is the flame that refuses to be extinguished. It is the voice inside that says, "This is who I am. This is what I will do. This is the direction I will follow no matter who doubts me, questions me, or stands in my way." That 1% is not for debate. It is not up for negotiation. It is the core of your identity and the source of your determination. People may misunderstand you when you choose calmness. They may think you are indifferent or weak. Let them think what they want. Calmness is not weakness, it is precision. It allows you to preserve your strength for the moments that matter. And when that moment arrives, when you must protect your values, defend your boundaries, or take decisive action, that 1% no, compromise emerges like a blade of absolute clarity. In that instant, there is no hesitation, no doubt, no apology. You act with the full force of your conviction. This balance between calmness and uncompromising determination is what makes a person unstoppable. When you are calm, you cannot be manipulated. When you hold your line, you cannot be diverted. The world cannot intimidate someone who does not rush and does not yield. You become someone who moves with intention, speaks with purpose, and acts with certainty. You do not need permission. You do not need approval. You do not need validation. You need only the alignment of your own mind and the courage to follow it. There will be people who try to discourage you, not because you are weak, but because your strength exposes their own limitations. There will be people who try to slow you down, because your urgency reminds them of their hesitation. And there will be people who cannot understand your calmness, because they have never experienced peace within themselves. None of that is your concern. You do not let anyone stop you, because your mission is greater than their opinions. Walk your path with your eyes open and your breath steady. Stand firm in your values while moving fluidly through life's challenges. Hold your center but never surrender your fire. 99% calm, 1% no compromise. This is how you rise above distraction. This is how you outlast doubt. This is how you remain unshakable in a world built on noise and pressure. And when you embody this balance, when your calm is deep and your conviction is absolute, you become a force that does not need to announce itself. Your presence says everything. Your actions say even more. And the world learns a simple truth: you cannot be stopped. Calm is your foundation because it is the state from which all clarity, strength, and intentional action arise. When the mind is calm, the world does not shrink, but it becomes organized. Thoughts fall into place. Emotions lose their power to distort reality. Actions become purposeful instead of reactive. Calmness is not the absence of intensity or ambition. It is the grounding force that allows you to express those qualities without being consumed by them. Imagine trying to build a structure on unstable ground. No matter how impressive the design, it will eventually collapse. The same is true for your inner life. Without calmness, you may have goals, plans, and talents, but they remain vulnerable to every shift in circumstance. When calmness becomes your foundation, you transform into someone who can stand firmly even while the world moves unpredictably around you. Calm is also a form of awareness. It creates a gap between stimulus and response, giving you the space to choose your next action with intention. In that space, you gain the ability to observe your emotions rather than be ruled by them. Anger no longer controls your words. Anxiety no longer dictates your decisions. Fear no longer shapes your identity. Calmness unveils the inner landscape of your mind, allowing you to see what is truly happening within you, not just what you assume or feel in the heat of the moment. Through this awareness, you become more capable of understanding yourself and others, which strengthens your resilience and deepens your sense of purpose. Calmness is often misunderstood as passivity, but it is actually one of the strongest states a person can embody. It does not weaken your resolve, it sharpens it. It does not slow you down, it ensures that every step you take is deliberate. Calmness enhances discipline, because it removes the emotional turbulence that often disrupts consistent practice. With a calm foundation, you can set a direction and walk in it steadily, without being constantly thrown off by distractions or internal conflict. In this way, calmness becomes a shield that protects your energy and a compass that guides your decisions. Another powerful aspect of calmness is that it improves your perception of challenges. When you approach difficulties from a frantic or stressed state, the problem appears larger than it actually is. The mind exaggerates obstacles and underestimates your ability to overcome them. But when calm, you see challenges with precision. You can break them down, understand their structure, and address them piece by piece. Calmness reduces overwhelm because it allows you to focus on the present moment rather than becoming lost in imagined futures. From this clarity, solutions arise naturally, and progress becomes possible even in situations that once felt impossible. Calmness also influences your physical state. The body mirrors the mind. If the mind is agitated, the body tightens, breath becomes shallow, and energy becomes scattered. But when calm, your breathing deepens, your muscles release tension, and your energy becomes concentrated rather than dispersed. This creates a stronger connection between body and mind, allowing you to move efficiently and with greater control. Whether in physical training, creative work, or everyday tasks, calmness enhances your performance because it aligns your entire system toward a single intention. Beyond its impact on action and clarity, calmness deeply shapes your relationships. When calm, you listen more fully and respond more thoughtfully. You do not speak from impulse or judgment, but from understanding. This not only improves communication, but also reduces unnecessary conflict. Calmness allows you to hold space for others without absorbing their emotions or losing your own balance. You become someone who can support, guide, and influence with quiet strength rather than force. People naturally trust and gravitate toward those who embody calmness, because calmness is felt as safety. Ultimately, calmness is a power that grows through practice. It is cultivated through consistent awareness, disciplined habits, and a willingness to step back from chaos rather than rush into it. When calm becomes your foundation, you gain mastery over your inner world, and from that mastery, the outer world begins to align. Every decision becomes clearer, every action more effective, and every challenge less intimidating. In this way, calmness becomes the most reliable source of strength, clarity, and resilience you can develop. Discipline over motivation means relying on consistent action rather than fleeting emotion. Motivation is a spark, bright, inspiring, energizing, but it is unpredictable. It rises when conditions feel right, when you are inspired, when success feels close. But motivation also fades, often without warning. It disappears on difficult days, during stress, when results come slowly, or when obstacles feel heavy. If your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline is a choice you repeat regardless of how you feel. It is steady, unwavering, and dependable. Discipline does not require excitement. It only requires commitment. And because of that, discipline becomes the true engine of long-term growth. Choosing discipline over motivation means understanding the difference between intention and action. Many people intend to improve, intend to change, intend to build something meaningful. But intention alone changes nothing. Motivation strengthens intention, but it does not guarantee action. Discipline bridges the gap between what you want and what you do. It brings structure to your goals and transforms your desires into habits. With discipline, even small efforts accumulate over time. Those small, repeated actions eventually produce outcomes that motivation alone could never sustain. When you act out of discipline, you no longer wait for the perfect moment to begin. You create momentum through routine, through repetition, and through deliberate consistency. Discipline also frees you from the emotional roller coaster that motivation often creates. When your actions depend on feeling inspired, your behavior becomes unpredictable. Some days you work hard, other days you stall, and slowly frustration grows. You might even begin to question your abilities or your worth. But when you rely on discipline, you remove emotion from the equation. You follow through whether you feel enthusiastic, tired, discouraged, or distracted. This steadiness reduces stress and builds a deep trust in yourself. You stop viewing yourself as someone who must be pushed or convinced to take action, and start seeing yourself as someone who simply follows through. You keep your word to yourself, and that inner trust becomes a powerful form of confidence. Another key aspect of discipline is that it creates a reliable structure in your life. When you set routines, systems, and clear expectations, you reduce the mental effort required to make decisions. Instead of wondering what to do or when to do it, you act according to a predetermined plan. This eliminates indecision, conserves mental energy, and increases your capacity for focus. Motivation fluctuates because it relies on emotion, but discipline relies on structure. And structure is something you can build, strengthen, and refine. Over time, your routines become automatic. What once required effort becomes natural. This is the power of discipline. It transforms difficult actions into familiar habits. Discipline also helps you navigate discomfort. Motivation prefers ease. It thrives when things feel exciting or rewarding. But real growth often requires stepping into discomfort, waking up early, practicing when you feel tired, confronting weaknesses, staying committed through slow progress. Motivation rarely survives these moments. Discipline, however, embraces them. Discipline understands that discomfort is not a signal to stop, but a sign of growth. When you act out of discipline, you are willing to do what is necessary rather than what feels pleasant. You learn to endure temporary discomfort for long-term benefit. This resilience separates those who achieve their goals from those who only dream about them. Another important truth is that discipline creates results, and results eventually create more motivation. Motivation should not be the starting point, it should be a byproduct. When you consistently take disciplined actions and begin to see progress, motivation naturally strengthens. You no longer depend on external inspiration because your own achievements fuel you. This self-generated motivation is far more powerful than the temporary energy that comes from external sources. It grows from evidence, from experience, from the knowledge that your efforts matter. But without discipline to create those early results, motivation may never appear or may fade too quickly. Discipline over motivation also teaches patience. In a world driven by instant gratification, discipline reminds you that meaningful progress takes time. It encourages you to stay committed even when the rewards are delayed. You learn to value the process rather than obsess over the outcome. Discipline transforms long-term goals into daily practices. It shows you that greatness is not built through sudden bursts of effort, but through steady, consistent dedication. Ultimately, choosing discipline over motivation reshapes your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who does not break their own promises, someone capable of achieving difficult things. When you operate from discipline, you are no longer controlled by mood or circumstance. You become intentional, steady, and reliable. You move closer to your goals not because you feel inspired, but because you choose to act consistently, regardless of how you feel. Awareness is power because it is the lens through which you experience, interpret, and act within your life. Without awareness, you move through the world unconsciously, reacting rather than responding, repeating patterns without understanding where they come from, and making choices without seeing their consequences. Awareness transforms this blindness into clarity. It reveals the truth of your inner state, your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, and your motivations. It also expands your understanding of the external world, helping you notice details, patterns, and opportunities that you would otherwise overlook. With awareness, you gain the ability to navigate situations with intelligence rather than impulse, and this ability becomes a form of power that shapes every part of your life. Awareness begins with observing the mind. Most people live in a constant stream of thoughts, many of which are repetitive, automatic, and unexamined. These thoughts create emotional reactions, influence decisions, and shape identity, yet they rarely receive direct attention. Awareness allows you to step back and see the mind at work. You begin to recognize when thoughts are useful and when they are fear-driven distractions. You can notice when emotions arise and understand what triggers them, instead of being overwhelmed by them. This distance between the observer and the thought creates freedom. Instead of being pulled by every feeling or impulse, you can choose which ones deserve your energy. This ability to choose is where personal power begins. Awareness also reveals patterns, both helpful and harmful, within your behavior. Many habits operate below the level of consciousness, repeating because they are familiar, not because they serve you. Through awareness, you can identify why you avoid certain tasks, why you react defensively in certain situations, or why you fall into the same emotional cycles. You begin to see the roots of your behavior instead of just the surface. This understanding makes transformation possible. You cannot change what you cannot see, but once awareness brings these patterns into the light, you gain the power to reshape them with intention. Another dimension of awareness is presence. When you are fully present, you experience life directly instead of through the noise of past memories or future anxieties. Presence sharpens perception. You see the world more vividly, hear more clearly, and understand more deeply. This enhances both personal and professional interactions. In conversations, awareness helps you listen instead of simply waiting to speak. You notice body language, tone, and emotional cues that would otherwise be missed. This strengthens relationships, reduces misunderstandings, and increases empathy. Awareness allows you to understand others not just through their words, but through the subtle signals they constantly send. Awareness is also a form of protection. When you are aware, you recognize dangerous situations, manipulative behavior, or harmful influences before they fully affect you. You sense when something does not align with your values, or when a decision feels wrong even if it looks acceptable on the surface. Many regrets arise from acting without awareness, from moving too quickly, or from ignoring internal signals. Awareness brings intuition forward, helping you navigate life with wisdom rather than chance. It becomes a compass that guides you toward what supports your growth and away from what diminishes it. Beyond the personal level, awareness influences how you manage your environment. You start noticing the impact of your surroundings, how certain people affect your energy, how certain spaces influence your focus, how certain routines shape your daily mindset. Awareness helps you recognize what drains you and what nourishes you. With this understanding, you can create environments that support your goals rather than sabotage them. You place yourself in situations that elevate you and distance yourself from those that pull you backward. This conscious positioning is a powerful advantage in shaping the direction of your life. Awareness also enhances decision-making. When you are aware, you see more options. You are not limited to the first reaction that comes to mind. Instead, you analyze, reflect, and choose from a position of clarity. You understand not just what you are deciding, but why you are deciding it. You consider long-term consequences rather than short-term comfort. This level of clarity reduces mistakes and increases the quality of your actions. Over time, good decisions compound, turning awareness into a source of sustained progress. Awareness is the foundation of self-mastery. It allows you to understand the workings of your mind, the patterns of your behavior, and the influences of your environment. It gives you the ability to pause, reflect, and select your response rather than surrendering to impulse. Through awareness, you gain insight into others, navigate challenges with intelligence, and build a life that aligns with your deepest values. Awareness does not control everything, but it gives you control over yourself, and that control becomes the greatest form of power you can possess. Simplicity creates clarity because it removes the noise that distorts perception and disrupts understanding. Modern life is filled with complexity, information, expectations, responsibilities, and countless choices. When too many elements compete for attention, the mind becomes scattered. In that scattered state, even small decisions feel difficult, and progress becomes slow. Simplicity counteracts this overload by stripping away the unnecessary, allowing the essential to stand out. When you simplify, you reveal what truly matters. You create space for focus, intention, and direction to emerge. Clarity is not achieved by adding more. It is achieved by removing what does not serve your purpose. Simplicity begins with reducing mental clutter. The mind often repeats thoughts that add no value. Worry, doubt, assumptions, and predictions that never materialize. These thoughts consume energy and create confusion. When you practice simplicity, you learn to identify which thoughts deserve attention and which can be released. You stop feeding the mental chatter that complicates your perception of reality. Through this reduction, the mind becomes clearer, more spacious, and more efficient. A simple mind is not an empty mind. It is a focused mind. It processes information with precision and reacts less impulsively because its attention is no longer scattered across dozens of competing worries. Simplicity also enhances productivity. Many people try to accomplish too much at once, believing that multitasking and constant activity lead to greater results. But complexity often leads to burnout and unfinished work. By simplifying your tasks, you prioritize what is important rather than what is urgent. You focus your energy on activities that move you forward instead of wasting time on distractions. Simplicity allows you to break down large goals into manageable steps, making progress feel achievable rather than overwhelming. With fewer priorities, each action becomes more effective. You move with clarity because you know exactly what deserves your effort. Beyond tasks, simplicity applies to your environment. Your surroundings influence your state of mind more than you may realize. A cluttered space creates a cluttered mind, while an organized space supports mental calmness. When your environment is simple, it becomes easier to concentrate and easier to relax. You do not waste time searching for things or dealing with unnecessary objects. Simplicity in your surroundings also encourages simplicity in your behavior. You develop cleaner habits, more efficient routines, and a stronger sense of order. This external clarity reinforces your internal clarity, creating a cycle of balance. Simplicity is equally powerful in communication. Many misunderstandings are born from overly complex words, unclear explanations, or emotional exaggeration. When you speak simply, you deliver your thoughts directly and without confusion. People understand you more easily, and your message carries greater impact. Simple communication also strengthens relationships because it leaves less room for misinterpretation. It encourages honesty and clarity between individuals. Simplicity in expression does not reduce depth. It enhances it by removing unnecessary layers that hide the truth. Another element of simplicity is the ability to distinguish between desire and need. Complexity often arises from wanting too many things at once. These desires pull your attention in multiple directions, diluting your focus and weakening your commitment. Simplicity teaches you to evaluate what genuinely contributes to your well-being or your purpose. When you identify your true needs, physical, emotional, and mental, you stop chasing superficial desires that drain your energy. This shift reduces stress, increases satisfaction, and clarifies the direction of your actions. Simplicity creates space for gratitude because you become more aware of what you already have rather than constantly seeking more. Simplicity also strengthens decision-making. When faced with too many options, the mind becomes overwhelmed. This phenomenon, known as decision fatigue, leads to hesitation and confusion. Simplifying your choices reduces mental strain and accelerates your ability to act. You learn to trust your judgment because you no longer sort through endless alternatives. You establish principles and priorities that guide your decisions automatically. As a result, you move through life with greater confidence and less internal conflict. On a deeper level, simplicity is a form of alignment. When your thoughts, actions, environment, and goals all point in the same direction, clarity naturally emerges. You no longer feel fragmented or pulled in conflicting directions. Simplicity reconnects you to your values, which act as a compass for your behavior. When your life is simplified, your actions become more meaningful because they reflect what truly matters to you. This alignment creates a sense of peace and purpose that complexity often obscures. Simplicity does not mean living without ambition or reducing life to bare minimums. It means making intentional choices. It means refusing to carry unnecessary weight It means understanding that clarity comes from focus, not from abundance. When you choose simplicity, you gain the freedom to give your full attention to the things that genuinely deserve it. You create mental space, emotional stability, and a purposeful direction that complexity could never offer. Small steps, unwavering direction is the principle that meaningful progress is built not through sudden leaps but through steady, deliberate movement toward a clearly defined purpose. Many people believe that success requires dramatic breakthroughs or extraordinary moments of inspiration, yet most achievements are the result of consistent effort applied over time. Small steps may seem insignificant in isolation, but when repeated with discipline, they accumulate into powerful momentum. Unwavering direction gives those steps a fixed path, ensuring that effort is not scattered or wasted. Together, they form a strategy for growth that is sustainable, resilient, and deeply rooted. Small steps create progress because they are manageable. Large goals can feel overwhelming, causing procrastination or fear. When a task appears too big, the mind resists starting. Small steps eliminate that resistance by breaking the journey into pieces that are simple and achievable. Each step becomes a promise you can keep, and every time you complete one, you reinforce your belief in your ability to continue. This builds confidence and a sense of control. Instead of feeling paralyzed by the magnitude of your goal, you feel empowered by the simplicity of the next action. Small steps shift your focus from the distant outcome to the present moment, which is the only place where change truly happens. Unwavering direction is what ensures those small steps lead somewhere meaningful. Without direction, effort becomes scattered. You may work hard, but make little progress because your actions lack alignment. Unwavering direction means having a clear sense of purpose, a vision that guides your decisions and shapes your priorities. It does not mean you must know every detail of the path. It means you know the destination well enough that each small step serves a larger intention. With direction, you avoid distractions disguised as opportunities. You resist detours that pull you away from your purpose. Even if progress is slow, you remain oriented toward the outcome you desire. When small steps and unwavering direction work together, they create momentum. Momentum is powerful because it reduces the effort needed to continue. Once you begin, each completed step makes the next one easier. You develop habits that support your progress. You build consistency that becomes part of your identity. Over time, your actions require less conscious effort because they have become woven into your routine. This momentum protects you during difficult periods. Even when motivation is low, the habit of small steps keeps you moving. Because your direction is unwavering, you do not lose sight of where you are going even if your pace temporarily slows. Another advantage of small steps is that they allow for adaptation. When you move incrementally, you can adjust your approach based on feedback from each step. You notice what works and what does not. You refine your strategy without risking major setbacks. This flexibility strengthens your ability to navigate uncertainty. Unwavering direction does not mean rigid methods. It means commitment to the destination while staying open to new paths that may lead you there more effectively. Adaptation is easier when actions are small. You are less likely to feel discouraged by mistakes because each step is only a small investment. In this way, small steps protect your resilience, allowing you to continue despite obstacles. Small steps also teach patience, a quality essential for growth. In a world that prizes speed and instant results, patience is often undervalued. But patience is not passive. It is the discipline to move consistently without demanding immediate reward. Small steps encourage you to appreciate progress in its most humble form. You learn that each action matters, even if the outcome is not yet visible. This patience keeps you from giving up prematurely. It helps you trust the process, understanding that transformation happens gradually, often imperceptibly, until one day the cumulative impact becomes undeniable. Unwavering direction fosters purpose, which gives meaning to the effort. When you know why you are moving forward, the journey becomes more fulfilling. Direction gives your actions emotional weight. It turns routine tasks into contributions towards something larger than yourself. This sense of meaning sustains motivation more effectively than any external reward. It also strengthens your resolve during challenging moments. When your direction is clear, You can endure discomfort, uncertainty, and delay because you know they are temporary parts of a greater pursuit. Purpose becomes the anchor that holds you steady. Small steps, unwavering direction, also reduce fear. Big goals often trigger fear of failure, fear of inadequacy, or fear of the unknown. Small steps shrink fear because they require only a small amount of courage at a time. Each completed step proves that progress is possible. This gradually weakens the fear that once felt overwhelming. Similarly, unwavering direction reduces fear by providing clarity. When you know where you are going, uncertainty loses its power. You no longer wander aimlessly. You move with intention, and that intention becomes a source of confidence. Over time, the combination of small steps and unwavering direction transforms who you are. You become consistent, patient, resilient, and purposeful. You learn to value process over perfection, effort over intensity, progress over speed. You realize that growth is not a singular event, but a lifelong practice shaped one choice, one action, one step at a time. Inner alignment leads to outer mastery, because the foundation of all effective action, meaningful achievement, and authentic expression begins within. When your thoughts, emotions, and values are in harmony, you move through the world with a sense of unity and clarity. Without this alignment, your actions become inconsistent, your energy becomes divided, and your decisions lose direction. Mastery in any area of life, work, relationships, personal growth, discipline, requires coherence between your inner state and your outer behavior. When the inside is stable, the outside follows. Inner alignment begins with knowing what you truly value. Many people live according to external expectations, societal pressure, or the desires of others. They chase goals they never chose for themselves, and then wonder why they feel unfulfilled even when they succeed. When you take the time to understand what matters to you, your principles, priorities, and purpose, you set the groundwork for alignment. Values act as a compass, guiding your choices and shaping your behavior. When your actions reflect these values, you experience a sense of integrity. This integrity becomes a source of confidence and resilience because you are no longer pulled in conflicting directions. Another aspect of inner alignment is emotional coherence. Emotions are powerful forces that influence behavior often more than logic does. When emotions like fear, anger, or insecurity remain unexamined, they create internal conflict. You might want to pursue a goal but feel held back by anxiety. You might desire growth but remain stuck in old habits driven by unresolved feelings. Emotional awareness and regulation allow you to align your inner world. By acknowledging and understanding your emotions, you reduce their ability to sabotage your progress. Calmness, acceptance, and emotional clarity turn the energy of your emotions into fuel rather than obstacles. This emotional steadiness enhances your ability to act with consistency and intention. Inner alignment also requires mental clarity. The mind is often full of noise, self-doubt, assumptions, past regrets, future worries. This mental clutter clouds judgment and leads to reactive choices. When you cultivate clarity through reflection, mindfulness, or focused thinking, you create space for wiser decisions. Mental clarity strengthens your ability to see what is essential and what is irrelevant. It helps you distinguish between your authentic goals and the distractions that pull you off track. Through clarity, your thoughts become aligned with your purpose, and this alignment directly influences the quality of your actions. Once your inner world is aligned, your outer actions gain strength. Outer mastery is not about perfection, but about consistency, precision, and effectiveness. When your mind and emotions work together rather than against each other, your actions become more coherent. You use your energy efficiently because you are no longer battling internal resistance. You make decisions faster because they reflect your values. You handle setbacks more gracefully because you understand why you are on your path. Outer mastery is the visible result of inner order. Alignment also enhances relationships. When you are internally aligned, you communicate more clearly and authentically. You do not hide behind masks or attempt to please others at the cost of your own truth. This authenticity builds trust. It attracts people who resonate with your values and strengthens connections that are built on honesty. You are less reactive in conflicts because your inner stability provides space for understanding rather than impulsive judgment. As your inner world becomes grounded, your outer interactions become smoother and more meaningful. Inner alignment influences discipline as well. Many people struggle with discipline, not because they lack willpower, but because they lack alignment. When your goals are not connected to your values, or when your emotions conflict with your intentions, discipline feels forced. But when your entire inner world supports your direction, discipline becomes natural. You act not because you must, but because your actions reflect who you are. This alignment transforms discipline from a struggle into a form of self-expression. You move consistently not through pressure, but through purpose. Additionally, alignment enhances creativity and problem-solving. When your inner world is chaotic, creativity becomes blocked. Doubt, fear, and contradiction drown out inspiration. But alignment creates internal harmony, allowing your mind to generate new ideas freely. You see possibilities where others see problems because your thinking is not clouded by confusion. Creativity flows from coherence, and this creativity is essential for mastery in any field. Outer skill grows when inner insight flourishes. Inner alignment also cultivates resilience. When life presents challenges, an aligned inner world provides stability. You can endure hardship without losing your direction, because your sense of purpose is anchored. You adapt without compromising your values. You recover from setbacks because your inner unity holds you together. This resilience strengthens your mastery by allowing you to continue improving even when circumstances are unfavorable. Ultimately, inner alignment leads to outer mastery because the external world reflects the internal one. When your thoughts, emotions, values, and actions all move in the same direction, your life becomes a coherent expression of your deepest truth. Your actions carry greater impact, your decisions carry greater clarity, and your presence carries greater strength.